Tell me about your skin problem. I'll tell you how to fix it. This is the name of the new series that I'm creating, inspired by this very long question that I'm looking at here. So I'm gonna read it, bear with me. We'll break it down piece by piece afterwards. And if you want me to do the same for your question and help you with your skin, just plug in your questions in the comment section and I will create a video just for you. All right, here we go. How about if I have sensitive skin that reacts to almost everything I put on it? I can't seem to find any skincare products that my skin will accept for more than a few days. I have combination skin where the T-zone is oily, but the rest of the skin is dry. I've tried to use moisturizers, but my skin has not liked a single moisturizer I've put on it. Example, Cetaphil, Vanicream, etc. During the past winter, I tried the Vanicream facial moisturizer because my skin gets pretty dry during the winter. And this moisturizer severely dried out my skin to the point where my skin felt so tight and uncomfortable to move and many fine lines started to form. I realized that this moisturizer has hyaluronic acid in it, and it turns out I'm very sensitive to hyaluronic acid because my skin becomes horribly dry whenever I use a product that contains hyaluronic acid in it. Recently, I tried using the La Roche-Posay mineral sunscreen and it seemed good at first until it clogged my pores a few days later and made my skin break out. I think the issue is that the cleanser I was using, Vanicream Gentle Facial Cleanser, didn't remove all of the sunscreen. So the sunscreen accumulated on my skin over a period of a couple of days and caused clogged pores and irritation on my skin. Oddly enough though, while I was using this sunscreen, the pores on my T-zone became much smoother, while the rest of my face, example, cheeks and sides of the face, became rougher. Now I'm waiting for my skin to recover before I can apply any sunscreen again. If I start using the sunscreen again, I know I need to use some kind of oil cleanser to make sure I properly clean all of the sunscreen from my face at the end of the day. The problem is that I don't know what oil cleanser to use that my skin won't react to. Also, my skin already feels dry and tight after I wash it with a regular cleanser. My Vanicream cleanser, so I am worried that adding an oil cleanser will dry it out even more. And it's not like I can use a moisturizer to remedy the dryness either, because my skin hasn't liked any moisturizer I've tried on it. I find it frustrating because even stuff that are made for sensitive skin, rosacea skin, usually doesn't work on my skin. I've tried, but I can't find a skincare routine that works for my skin. All right, that was a lot, Chariot, but thank you so much for sharing. There are so many points that we're going to break up and I'm going to get to every single one of them. So bear with me throughout this video and I promise you I will have the right skincare routine for you. If you use the skincare routine that I'm going to recommend, you will see results if you follow it exactly as I prescribe. And here's the deal. If you use it for 2 months, I want you to promise me to go back to the comment section and leave a review with your experience using that skincare routine. Let's get started. All right, so let's get started with breaking down the products that you have used so far and trying to figure out what the potential issue is. Obviously, this is not going to be exact, but from my extensive experience working with thousands and thousands of consumers over the last 28 years, I can guess pretty well All right, so let's get started with Cetaphil moisturizer. I know they have several, but based on your question, considering that you are sensitive, I would assume that you've used the moisturizing cream for dry, sensitive skin. So that is the one that I am reviewing right now as far as ingredients. So first ingredient is water. That's typical for most moisturizers. Second is glycerin. That is a humectant that's going to draw the water hopefully into the skin and hold on to it. But the third one is a big problem, and that is petrolatum. And then going down the list, you see dimethicone as well. And so disodium EDTA is another ingredient I don't like, but let's just kind of zoom in on petrolatum and dimethicone. Dimethicone is a silicone. It's actually from sand. It has absolutely no ability to moisturize. It gives the product that really silky finish, so it's really ideal in primers and foundations. You very often find it in less expensive moisturizers. It's basically filling the space and giving you like the illusion of moisture, that really silky finish. So a lot of times you'll find products with a lot of dimethicone to be really smooth and gel-like texture. So again, that's just something that people get attracted to for the feel. Is it going to benefit your skin anyway? Not really. Is it going to harm it? Maybe not, but it's really, in my mind, it's occupying space really. Now, petrolatum is a big problematic ingredient. It's really common. You'll find it in a lot of inexpensive products, obviously, because it's dirt cheap. It's a byproduct of crude oil. It is literally what's left at the bottom of oil barrels. It's sticky. Think of it as that buildup within the pipes. And so they refine it. So a lot of these companies, they say they triple refine so to remove those carcinogens. We don't know that. There is really no oversight proving that those carcinogens are actually removed. But aside from the health risks, just looking at petrolatum or mineral oils, anything really that comes from petroleum jelly is not going to help hydrate your skin in any way or moisturize it in any way. It's gonna also give you that illusion of moisture. It's a sticky, tacky substance. Even pretending, let's just assume that it's not carcinogenic by any means. There's no benzene, no toxic chemicals in there. Just the substance, the moisturizing piece of petrolatum is not moisturizing. And so if you already have plenty of moisture in your skin, all right, well, let's say it's going to seal that moisture in. It's going to act as an occlusive to help retain that moisture. But if you have no moisture to begin with, what are you sealing in? Nothing. You're just trapping sebum, dirt, impurities, and your skin is really not able to breathe. It's not being moisturized. So it's so important to try and invest in moisturizers that have good oils, not essential oils, but good plant oils that are compatible with your skin, that are going to take you from point A to point B. They're actually delivering moisture. They're enhancing your elasticity. They're giving you antioxidants, vitamin C maybe, vitamin A. So there are a lot of really great oils. Obviously, it's best to use organic ones that are packaged in bottles, maybe something dark. I wasn't prepared for this, but oh, here, a dark bottle like that, so that they're preserved, they're not oxidizing really quick. So yeah, there are a few things to consider when you're purchasing your products. They don't have to be super expensive, because I know even expensive products use mineral oil or petrolatum. The first one that comes to mind is Creme de la Mer. You pay hundreds of dollars for some of their products. They're still using petrolatum based ingredients. And so I'm not talking about that, like I said earlier, often we find them in cheaper products because they're easy to, it's a really cheap, ingredient to attain, but it's not exclusively in cheap products. You can find it in really upscale and expensive products as well. So you have to do your due diligence and actually read the ingredient list. So I will address the comment that your skin does not like moisturizer. I guarantee if you use the right moisturizer, your skin will absolutely drink it up and absolutely love it, and it's going to work for you. But from the selection that you have shared with me, Cetaphil, Vanicream, they're not going to do that much for you. So no wonder your skin has not loved them. So let's break down Vanicream. Let's take a quick look at the ingredient list. So they have multiple moisturizers. Since I don't have the exact one that you used, I just selected one. So hopefully I made the right guess. So looking at the ingredient here, I made a safe guess because they have several different ones. So here we're looking at purified water, squalene, glycerin, no problem. And then pentylene glycol is a preservative. It really depends here on the concentration. It can be really irritating if it's really high concentration, or if it's a lower concentration that your skin can tolerate, then it's not a problem. And then they have some ceramides, so that's great. Caprylyl glycol is another preservative. So again, it really would have to do with the concentration of those ingredients, so no way for me to know. But overall, this does not seem like a terrible formula. It's definitely a lot better than Cetaphil. I don't see the petrolatum in there and other ingredients of like too much concern, let's say that. But because your skin is sensitized, we want to look in a different direction. Obviously, it is not tolerating this specific formulation. Now, let's address hyaluronic acid. Obviously, it is in this formulation. You stated that hyaluronic acid, you have a problem with, you react to. The only time I've seen people react to hyaluronic acid, specifically as a molecule, is when they are not using enough water with it. Hyaluronic acid is supposed to be a humectant that draws water into the skin. When you're not misting generously, like when I first apply my skincare routine, so let's grab a mist here. So the way to have hyaluronic acid actually work for you is to provide it water to draw into the skin so it can actually hydrate it and plump. If you're not using a good amount of water-based mist, something that's high quality, what's happening is that it just goes in and it's going to draw water from your skin. So it ends up dehydrating you rather than hydrating you. So when you plan to use a hyaluronic acid product, first of all, use it in a light formulation like a serum versus a cream to actually ensure that it's going to absorb into the skin. Secondly, pair it with a nice mist. So I like to really generously mist my skin anytime I'm about to apply a hyaluronic acid product, and depending on how dry I feel, I would go on top of it with another layer of a mist. So I'm truly curious to see how your skin will behave if you use the right blend, a good lightweight hyaluronic acid with a good mineral mist. Right, so next on the agenda of things to address is the fact that La Roche-Posay mineral sunscreen clogged your pores, leading to breakout. You are guessing that it's because you were not removing it properly. It was being built up because you're using Vanicream Gentle Cleanser. Okay, so that was a lot. So let's start with the sunscreen. La Roche-Posay has lots and lots of sunscreens. So again, I made a wild guess. And so the one I'm looking at right here is their SPF 50 broad spectrum mineral. So you mentioned that, a mineral sunscreen, and I actually selected the fluid one. So that is pretty much the lightest formulation. Let's pull up the ingredient list. Here it is. So first ingredient is water. Typical. Second is dimethicone. So I talked about dimethicone earlier. It's just the illusion of silkiness and moisture, but it's not going to do much for your skin. A bunch of, there's a different type of silicone as well. I see talc. Talc is really not a good idea. It has asbestos. They're like, twins. They're inseparable, conjoined twins. Even when brands say that they test for asbestos in the talc, a lot of times those microscopes that they use are not, powerful enough to actually detect it. So we want to avoid talc, by all means, at all costs, because of that potential of having that carcinogen. More dimethicone. PEGs, not a fan of PEGs. There are a bunch of different preservatives. So again, because your skin is sensitized, maybe you have an issue with those preservatives that could be causing reactions. Or the ingredient list, we have also water and glycerin, so not too bad. Cocoa glycoside, so that's a cleansing agent. I see a bunch of preservatives, mica, okay, no problem. Titanium dioxide, not a huge fan. But the only So a lot of these ingredients here act as preservatives. Obviously, it would have to do with the concentration. So some of these things, if they're in low concentration, you might not see an issue. If they're in high concentration, you might get irritation. So it's very hard for me to extract that from the ingredient list. But the one thing that I'll call out is the sodium EDTA. Not a fan of this ingredient. It is banned in Japan, Europe, because of a lot of concerns. Potential carcinogen, although it's not looked at that way here in the US. But also it's a chelating agent, and it's gonna draw those ingredients deeper into the skin, and that's a problem. So sometimes if you're applying an ingredient on the skin, that's not a big concern at the levels that are allowed here in the US. Sometimes when you're layering several ingredients, or your lipid barrier is compromised, or you have a penetration enhancer like the sodium EDTA, what's happening is that those ingredients actually are going into the skin and they're causing problems, especially when your skin is compromised and it's sensitive. So that's one that I would always avoid. And I think you could be right in your assessment that the Gentle Cleanser by Vanicream is too gentle to remove the sunscreen. So you end up with that buildup. So I can imagine that that is true. I don't see oils or things that truly are going to be capable of breaking down the sunscreen. So you absolutely want to start with a very good oil to break all of that down. Double cleansing is something I've been talking about for years. The first cleanse is done with an oil that's going to help break down impurities, the sunscreen, makeup, anything that's accumulated on your skin throughout the day. And then the second cleanse is what's going to actually now have access to your skin to basically remove any residue that's left behind from the oil cleanser. It's going to remove whatever is left behind from your maybe water resistant sunscreen as well, and cleanse the skin itself. So double cleansing in the evening is a non-negotiable if you want good skin and if you want your skincare to actually have access to your skin. So you have to remove that film, you have to remove that layer efficiently and properly. And by efficiently, I don't mean harsh cleansers or scrubs or anything like that. Really, it's just that double cleansing routine. It is magic. You got to do that in order to be able to maintain good skin. Now let's get to the best part, and that's product recommendations. Obviously, I don't know you. I haven't seen your skin on Zoom like I do with all of my consultations, but I'm going to make a very safe guess. Your skin is compromised, your lipid barrier is weakened, it's been very dry, and so it's not able to tolerate a lot of different ingredients and products. And so the solution is to cut out anything that has any preservatives, because we don't know how your skin is reacting to that. We have to allow for that lipid barrier to form. So when I say lipid barrier, that is the glue that holds our skin together. So we have skin cells, and so if we pretend that each finger is a cell, we want these cells to be attached really tightly together, and that's what's going to form that protection on our skin, allowing that moisture to stay in and preventing pathogens and dirt and pollution from penetrating into the skin. So important. And many people today have a compromised lipid barrier because they're overusing products that are aggressive or not getting enough hydration. And then of course with age, our skin thins out as it is, and that the glue is actually made up of ceramides and cholesterol and different, it's like a group of fatty acids that are holding those cells together. And so that just by knowing that, you would surmise that fat, good moisture, in fact, is amazing and is essential in holding those cells together and maintaining the integrity of the lipid barrier. Now, all that being said, my recommendation to you is the simplest routine possible to start. This is not ideal, it's not your optimal, but it is optimal for today, for now, until your skin actually starts rebuilding. So in addition to hydrating internally and moisturizing internally, and so what that means, you're drinking ample water, maybe you are taking hyaluronic acid internally. I know I had that sitting here earlier, and actually I'm going to link up to this one. This is actual hyaluronic acid that I take. And so that's going to help lubricate your joints, your bones, your tissues, all of it. We have hyaluronic acid throughout our body. Consuming good collagen, I have really great options on my website, things that I feel are safe, that I've, investigated, that I use myself. You can find those selections there. Just to keep it short, I would suggest you consume hyaluronic acid internally. You consume good amounts of fat that will help you get to your goal much faster. So avocados, fatty fish like wild sardines and wild salmon, wild caught salmon. Alaskan salmon is my favorite. Of course, taking cod liver oil, taking really good omega-3 fatty acids. So I will try my best to link up as many options as I can in the description below. But as far as topical skincare, so I really focus on diet and supplements because they'll help get you to your goal much faster. But topically, we can do a gentle cleansing oil. I will link that up as well. A milk cleanser. So you have to do both. If you don't do the cleansing oil before the milk, you're not going to remove all of the sunscreen. Even if you don't wear makeup, you still need that double cleanse to properly remove sunscreen as well as the impurities that accumulated on the skin. And then right after that, I would do barrier repair serum. So this is 100% oil based. It's got jojoba, which is made of ceramides, and ceramides are the building blocks of that lipid barrier. So it's fantastic to just give your skin what it needs without adding any preservatives, no harsh glycols or pegs or anything like that. And the second ingredient in barrier repair serum is rosehip oil. So it gives you some anti-aging benefits there because rosehip has natural transretinoic acid, which is vitamin A. It's got natural vitamin C. It's got some lipids as well, fatty acids. So it's phenomenal. And then you got hemp seed oil, and so that actually has amino acids, which are building blocks of collagen. So it's a perfect oil for you to start using. I would give that a good 2 months before starting to incorporate hyaluronic acid and the water, that mist that I was talking about earlier. I would definitely add those later on, but I would first allow that skin to just recover. You want to focus primarily on that lipid barrier. But of course, focusing on the lipid barrier means you're also protecting with sunscreen. You need a good mineral zinc oxide based sunscreen that is completely preservative free. I like Kerry-Gran, I like avocado zinc, so you can find all of those. I'm very sensitive myself, and I use Kerry-Gran 9 times out of 10. If you go to my website, you'll find that I put together bundles to make things easy for consumers. So not everybody needs to book a consultation with me. So you'll see a sensitive skin bundle, or simply check out all of the links that I will be adding in the description below. If you have questions, please let me know in the comments. If you try any of this advice and it works for you or not, let me know. I cannot wait to hear your feedback. And until then, be well, be safe, be beautiful. Take care.